We're coming up on the end of the year. If you are near retirement, there are things that you need to make sure you are taking care of, checking off the list, and focusing on. And so when I say near retirement, I'm not going to sit here and say that, well, you have to be age 55 to 60 in this conversation, because we have people that are retiring at age 50. We have people who are retiring at age 70. There's a broad array of people that this could relate to. So I want to make sure that I'm putting that in there. Now, when it comes to everything that you're doing, I think one of the primary focuses is as you get closer to retirement, and when I say closer, if you're between 1 and 5 years from retirement, you've got to start focusing on asset allocation. So many advisors have preached for years on, well, the 60-40 portfolio, and as you get closer, it's 50-50, and if however long you've got left in retirement, you need this much in stocks and this much in bonds. Get out of here. I'm not into all of that whatsoever, because it truly depends on you and your goals and your plan. Now, sure, if you've got a ton of money and you don't need any market growth and you're really risk averse, you could go one way or the other. But what I found in general for most people that works, and this helps to hedge the emotion side of things, and it also helps to hedge the downturns in the market, that's having 3 to 5 years. I prefer going towards the 5-year mark of conservative dollars on the side, and that's one bucket, and having a growth bucket. The reason for that is that if you look back at 2008, it took roughly 5 years from the top of the market to get back to the top of the market. And in that scenario, what you could be doing is using your conservative bucket and slowly pulling from that for your income during retirement, not touching any of the stocks that have been battered, and instead waiting for those to recover. Once those have recovered, you start to replenish the conservative bucket as well as pull from the growth bucket as the markets are continuing to recover. So that's one way you've got to look at that. That's one of the primary focuses as you near retirement, whether it be near end or beginning of year. Start to look at that. Now, when it comes to your asset allocation and everything else, we also want to talk through rebalancing. We want to make sure that you are positioning yourself in the proper way as you're getting ready for retirement. If you've already established something like this 2-year bucket or this 2-bucket strategy, what you want to look at is say, okay, well, hey, where's the market at right this moment? Is it something that I need to make sure that I'm replenishing the conservative bucket because that's where I've been pulling from? Or, hey, the market is down right this second, I want to hold off, I don't want to replenish anything. Look at those strategies there, talk through that. And from there, we've got to talk through tax loss harvesting. Where are you at right this second as we come up on the end of the year? Is this an opportunity for you to be able to save on some taxes? Potentially, you can offset that by doing a tax loss harvest if you have a brokerage account, or maybe you've had some losses somewhere else that can offset some of what you're doing. You want to talk to a CPA on this. You want to make sure that you're in tune with your tax strategy to make sure that's in play. And talking about tax strategy, we've got to talk about Roth conversions. Now, if you're near retirement, potentially your income is going to be super high still, and you're still working and you're not ready to do the conversions because you're wanting to convert at a lower tax bracket. But let's just say that that's not the case. Maybe for you were furloughed for a while, and maybe your income's not going to look as though it did last year. You're going to have a lower tax bracket this year. If something like that is the case, you should consider looking at those Roth conversions if, again, it makes sense for your plan. It's not for everybody. But with the big, beautiful bill, we know a bit of what the taxes will look like and the standard deductions look like, so we're aware of what you could potentially do there. So make sure you're taking advantage of all of those scenarios. Now, we've got to talk through, if you're still working, you're near retirement, what are some other things that you should be doing? Well, if you have an IRA or a Roth IRA, remember there's certain rules here. You've got to be careful. If you have an IRA and you're contributing to a 401k, you can only make so much money and income before that IRA contribution is not considered tax deductible. If you have a Roth IRA, on that side, you actually have an income limit. You can only make so much money in general, or you can't do the Roth contribution. Now, there's strategy there that could come into play. The backdoor Roth IRA or the Roth conversion strategy that you would be looking at. Again, this is one that you've got to be very careful with. You can check out some of our other videos where we've went in more detail on those. But for the year right this second, for 2025, you can contribute up to $7,000 if you're under the age of 50 to an IRA or Roth IRA, and then $8,000 for 50 and above. Deadline being April 15th, tax filing deadline, making sure that if you're contributing for 2025, make sure that it's marked for 25 if you are actually putting the money in in 2026. From there, you've got the HSA accounts. If you have a high deductible health plan, take advantage of the HSA. The HSA is a great opportunity for you to be able to put dollars in. They are a tax deduction when you put the dollars in. They grow tax-free. And as long as they're used for health care, that's an opportunity for you there. You can even reimburse yourself. Again, these are all things that we've always talked about and being able to do. You've got a 401k. If you have an employer plan, making sure that, first of all, you're taking the match. If nothing else, take the stinking match. So many people don't do that, and they just say, well, I'm getting close to retirement. I'm not going to put any more money in. Well, if you take the match, that's free money. From there, you do have the opportunity to put even more money in, $23,500 for anybody under 50, $31,000 for 50 and above. And then 60 to 63 has the new catch-up there. So it's $11,250 on the catch-up instead of the $7,500, bringing you to the $31,000. So make sure you're aware of those. This is one that people sometimes, it catches them off guard because you got to be careful. When you contribute to the 401k, that's through December 31st. Make sure that check doesn't come in the next year, because if the check comes in the next year and the withholding is falling into the next year, potentially you miss out on that opportunity. So we've got to make sure that we're looking there. From there, you've got to start thinking through other strategies such as beneficiaries, estate planning, all of these things. As you near retirement, these are all things that you should be doing anyways. But you do want to take this time while you're reviewing your finances to make sure you're focusing on that and not missing anything there. So I'm sure there's other things that you can think of. Throw it down below as a comment, because I'm sure you're going to be helping somebody else. But these are a few good nuggets if you're near retirement to make sure you're taken care of before year end.
We all want more. Let's open the door. Introducing the Dose Score.